back, and I'm looking at her car, and I turn around, and that old guy, he's gone. I mean, he just vanished. I didn't see him walk away or anything. So I'm like, okay, I know what he is. All right. So I got the cover. Where does this thing go? You know? And then Tim's like, I thought I heard your voice over there. Tim comes walking over there. Okay. So, and you know, I don't mean to tell on us, but it took us what, 20 minutes just to figure out how to get the hubcap off, right? It was pretty bad. Tim goes on the other side of the car. I guess he didn't want to be seen, you know. 20 minutes later, he goes, I figured it out, you know, and it was just like, it was ridiculous. But so anyway, I figured out by the instructions where this jack goes, and I'm jacking up her car, and she says, I really appreciate you doing this. So see, I'm trying to practice this thing. How do I include God in on this? How do I get a God story in there? So she goes, I really appreciate you stopping and helping. I said, look, here's how it is. I meet with these guys at Blue Ridge, and I said, you know, if I passed up an opportunity to help you out, and I go back to them, and I got to be honest and tell it, I wouldn't look good. So this is me trying to, you know, step in and do the God thing here. And she's like, oh, you go to Blue Ridge? I go to Blue Ridge. And then part of me was like, oh, shoot. Okay, well, you know, well, that's cool. And then all of a sudden her boyfriend shows up, and his name is Steven, and she goes, hey, this guy goes to Blue Ridge. She goes, I know, he seats us. And I'm like, okay, well, this is cool, you know. So, and I'm still thinking, well, it's a spare tire. We can get it on. I can still make this hunting thing. Spare's flat. Kidding me? Okay, so I'm still, part of my mind is wanting to get where I want to get. All right, so, well, look, they got an air compressor inside. We'll get an air, you know, we'll blow out. So we got a game plan going. All right, so we go in, and I'm in there. I go ahead and buy this little eye hook that I needed, and there came a point where I just had to say, you know what? I need to let this go. Am I really loving my neighbor as myself? See, I still got loving me in there. I still want that shot. I had to let it go. I let it go. We stayed there. Got that tire pumped up. You know, got it back on the car. And she got on her way, and everything was cool. And here's this, like, you know, other part of this story. Well, one of them is, you know what? That guy Steven, that girl's boyfriend, he's been showing up at Engage on Monday nights. How'd that happen? I don't know. But Tim Nyden and I, we stopped to the side. He goes, man, you know, and we talked a minute. I said, yeah. Because I've been stressing. It's been a rough few weeks, and you know, work slowed down, and you work for yourself. You know, that's it. If nothing's in the works, you're waiting. So I said, you know what? Let's pray. We spent a few minutes praying. We're just giving it to God, telling Him how much we love Him, we trust Him, and how much He's a part of our lives, and how we don't need to worry. I saw Tim yesterday. He says, man, one of the first things he says to me when he sees me, you know what? And since we prayed, man, my life has changed. I have not worried about that one bit. Man, you know how that made me feel? You know? Here's a brother who was worried and anxious. I took a few minutes. I had finally just sold out. I'm going to stay in here for the duration. Right? Love your neighbor as yourself. Man, I got to love on a friend of mine. And God loved on him. And 2 weeks later, he's helping somebody else out on their roof. Wow. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. All right? Let me give you a flip side. One more story, okay? Years ago, Rhonda and I are, I guess we were driving back up to Maryland. Our kids would spend time with the in-laws and everything. We're driving up the road, we're having this God conversation. And Rhonda's like, well, you know, what if somebody's pull over on the side, you know, out on the side of the road, their car's broke down, and would you pull over and help them? We go around this bend, there's a car pulled over on the side. And I turned, as the words came out of her mouth, we see the car, and I pull over. All right? Ron and I get out of the car, we walk back, it's an elderly couple, and he said, what's wrong? I said, well, the serpentine belt busted, I've called AAA, you know, they're on their way, and it's like, okay, you guys all right? Are you going to be okay? It's like, yeah, we're fine, we're just waiting on the truck. And we say, okay, so we get back in the car, proceed to go, and I looked at Rhonda, and I said, you know, maybe we should stay here. I think we should stay till the truck comes. She's like, okay. So we get back out of the car, and I think it kind of freaked them out because they're like, they're coming back, you know, and it's just like, we got there, look, we just thought we should stay with you guys till the truck gets here. Well, you know, you don't have to know. I think we should. So we just kind of hung out. I don't remember the conversation. All of a sudden, I noticed coming up the road was this guy. He was staggering. He was drunk. He had like a lunchbox in his hand. He's kind of a big guy, rough-looking guy. He comes walking by, and he's looking, you know, and he keeps on going. And I thought to myself, I wonder if Rhonda and I hadn't been here, and that guy came up, an elderly couple there, what would have happened? I'm not saying something would have, but, you know, it crossed my mind. I mean, older people, I'm getting old, so I got to watch how I say that. Well-distinguished, older generation, we get taken advantage of. Now, I've already included myself, great. Get taken advantage of, right? So he goes by, all of a sudden, now the tow truck pulls up. Guy hops out. You called for a tow truck? I said, yeah, are you the guy that they called? Yeah. You called for a tow truck? Where do you need to go? I said, well, wait a minute. They called somebody for AAA, and somebody specific. Are you that guy? Oh, yeah, we work together. Yeah, it'll be fine. I said, are you the guy? He goes, no, just whatever, forget it. And he hops back in his truck and takes off. He wasn't from AAA. He was going to hook these guys up, take them where they want, charge them $100 or $200 bucks. You know, that's the deal. 20 minutes later, here comes AAA. Are you so-and-so? Yeah, okay, I'm here. Where do you guys need to go? What would have happened if we had not stopped and taken the time to that couple? What if God purposed me and Rhonda to be there? Not that we're guardian angels, but you know what? I think we made a difference. We saved them from some trouble. What do you think's happening to those people that you walk by, that I walk by? What if we're the ones God's called to step in? Man. Okay, you know what? Let's go to the questions, okay? Look, this is something for you to think about. You know, this is something that is really a good thing. It really is. You know, love your neighbor as yourself. 5 words. You know, I'm not saying let go of the rest of the Bible. It all has value. But if you could stick to that one thing, man, what's going to happen in the world around you? All right, so here are the questions. Question 1. Now listen, and I know some of you guys are out there, you know, and I don't want you to answer this, but here's the question. Is any of you out there running so hard, you're doing all this, you don't have time, you know, you've got it, okay? Because if you do, don't worry about the questions. But if you're like me, let's take a minute. What keeps you from investing in other people? Fear, selfish, time, bad experience, commitment, money? Okay? Let's identify it. Let's just be real. It's okay. You know? We're here for each other, right? Then let's pray over it. Okay? 2, do you know what your gift is? Mercy, serving, encouraging, giving. You know, for me, I know it's encouragement. I know it's teaching. It's those kind of things. What's your gift? There's a number. I'll discuss that, all right? What are you good at, and what do you like to do? Organization, mechanics, carpentry, cooking, gardening, you know, meeting people, sports. What is it? You know, I like to help. I'm not really good at any one thing, but I can lend a hand, okay? I can help, all right? And how can you use these gifts and interests to engage with someone? Okay? So if you take these, what can you do with that, right? And then, who is that person? Right? We know. We see the people out there. How can we not? This is a big world, and there's a lot of hurting people out there. All right, so look, guys, this isn't a downer. This is something that we're looking to do. This is for some of us, this will be the beginning, the starting point of making a change in our lives for the rest of our lives and for the lives of countless people. We have no idea what God has in store for us. We have no idea what is going to happen when we make a decision to love your neighbor as yourself. All right? Let's keep the junk out in the parking lot. We don't have time to play around. We don't have time to be coy, right? Let's just be real. I was watching a clip from Braveheart last night, Sal. So now, I had talked to Stephen Dunn last night. You know, you've seen the guy. He comes in. He gets in character. So I didn't tell him about this part, because if I had, he'd have me in here in a wig and blue paint on my face, wearing a kilt, and I'd be riding Hank.
Don't laugh at me.
And
well, it is almost Halloween.
I am William Wallace, and I'd be riding around on Hank's back. William Wallace is 7 feet tall. I'm just saying, man. I did it for both of us, okay? So I'm watching this clip last night, and so I'm going to have to read it, because it was good. You know, and you know the scene. They're getting ready. They've got the English army out there. They're outnumbered. You know, they're with their weapons. You know, they got sickles and some swords, but you have the world's greatest army at that time was out there in front of them. You know, they were ready to go. And he talks to these guys, and he says, I see a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny. You've come to fight as free men, and free men you are. What will you do with your freedom? Will you fight? He says, against that, no, we're going to go home and live. You know, he says, okay, all right, fight and you may die. Run and you may live, at least for a while. And dying in your bed years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that? And let me change this up a little bit to fit what we're talking about. What will you do with your freedom? Will you fight? See, we have a freedom of choice. We can choose to drive right by that person in need. We can choose to look the other way, or we can choose to stop. We can choose to extend our hands. We can choose to sacrifice. So fight, yeah, stay, and you may have to sacrifice something, or go and you can keep all your stuff. But years from now, when you're laying in your bed, would you be willing to trade every day from this one to that for the opportunity to love your neighbor as yourself? To say, love the Lord with all your heart, to know what that means, to change the lives and the destinies of those people around you. Is it going to cost you? Yeah, it's going to cost you. Anything of value is going to cost us. David says he went to worship God, and the man wanted to give him his property and the sacrifice. He said, no, if it costs me nothing, it's worth nothing. Okay? So I'm asking you, would you be willing? Would you be willing to give up your dinner for somebody who hasn't eaten all day? Would you be willing to give up your sleep to give your neighbor a ride to work because his car's in the shop? Would you be willing to give up that toy you've been saving up because the guy with the unemployment check won't stretch far enough for him to pay his electric bill? Would you be willing to give up your favorite TV show to go to a coffee shop and talk with a guy whose marriage is on the rocks? Would you be willing to take your only day off work, take your lawnmower, go over to that single mom down the street with an overgrown lawn and cut her grass when she's not there, and leave a note? I thought you could use the help. JC. Would you be willing? See, I knew God wanted me to stop and help that girl with the flat tire. Do you know why? Because she was right in front of me. So who's in front of you?